Welcome to another VRA update. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what's happening in this coin right now. It didn't exactly continue to move higher in a straight line, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to continue to move higher towards the target for this long trade idea, which I posted back down here probably in November. So the thing that's going on here is that yes, we're in a zigzag to wave D, nothing's changed there. The only thing that has become more apparent is the type of wave, 5 wave move that we're seeing since this move began back in September last year. So, so normally what happens with a 5 wave move is you get something like what happened back here. It's a 5 wave move, looks pretty obvious. But then when you get weakness in the market for a finishing move that doesn't have the strength to move up, you get a weak 5 wave move. So there's two types of 5 wave moves, non-standard 5 wave moves. Like this is a normal regular 5 wave move, right? So for the weak 5 wave moves, there's two types in terms of RS wave. So when I say that, that means that this is nothing to do with Elliott wave. This is an RS wave thing. It's a bit different. All right. So the only way to interpret this move is that it's a weak 5 wave move, meaning that, well, you're still going to get 5 waves up, right? But the only thing is, you're going to get a weak one where it comes back, touches wave 1 and 2 area, and then continues higher to meet the target, right? So there's two types of these moves. You've got the first kind, which is more common, is it's a type 1 weak 5 wave move where it moves up in zigzags, right? And then it corrects, and then you get another zigzag, and then it corrects deeply again, and you get another zigzag to complete the move. So you're moving up in zigzags. This one here is moving up in 5 wave moves, right? So this is a type 2. Type 2 is what I believe is going on, right? So you're going to get the correction. Now, within the correction, you've got 5 waves, A, B, C, D, E. Here, we're in the process of seeing A, B, C. So there's still a little bit further to go. I believe that what's going to happen is we're going to get a bit of a squeeze in between the 200 and the 1000 period moving average. And then that's going to basically send prices higher to complete the move, right? So being a weak move, I believe it is the end of this move and no further upside once we hit our minimum expectation of 0.016 or a move above any previous wave for the zigzag, right? So wave C has to create the final thrust, the final high in a zigzag that's obviously pointing to the upside. In a zigzag that's pointing to the downside, has to make the final low for the C wave. So if we just zoom in a little bit more, all right, I'll just cover a few things off whilst we're here. So you had the first wave 1, then you had an A, B, C, D, E. You had a wave 3 thrust, and now I believe we've seen an A, we've seen a B. This is a C. So we're going to continue to move sideways here before we get the final move up, right? So as long as wave 3 is not the shortest, wave 5 can be longer, right? So wave 1 would be the smallest wave in this move. Wave 3 being longer, wave 5 can be longer than wave 3 in this particular 5 wave move. Now, if you're talking in terms of Elliott wave, you might be familiar with the expression of an ending diagonal. So this is a very basic way to look at how markets operate, is to look at them through the lens of Elliott wave, and it's too basic for me to really to like it at all, because what is an ending diagonal really? If you look at the meaning behind what that means, you get zigzags, 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 zigzags all over the place. But according to RS wave, this does not happen. You get a 5 wave move, a correction, A, B, C, D, E, a 5 wave move, a correction, A, B, C, D, E, and then the final move up, right? you could probably say, yeah, it's a diagonal pattern, but it's irrelevant if it's a diagonal or not, if it's a contracting ending diagonal or whatever the hell the Elliott wave says. It doesn't really matter what Elliott wave says. This is RES wave. This channel here, we only do RES wave pattern recognition. So it is my understanding for this move that we will see 5 waves up, correction, 5 waves up, correction, 5 waves up, right? And I call that a type 2 weak 5 wave move. Still heading for the target. Will price drop below the start of wave 3? I don't think it's going to do that, right? It's not something that typically happens in these types of moves. So for those of you that went long at the entry point, well, it's taking a little bit longer, but the final move will be the one that takes us all the way up there. So even from current levels where we are now, you're still looking at least 250%, might even go towards 300%. I wouldn't be surprised. But the point is that it's ongoing. It's taking a little bit longer. Why? Because it's the last move in the zigzag. It's a weak move, right? So this basically says that it's not the beginning of a trend, right? Because you don't get this type of move in the beginning of a wave 3, for example, right? It doesn't make much sense for it to be there. If anything, this would be in wave 1, and then it would start to get sharper after that, right? So this does not tell me at all that it's going to continue higher. We're going to hit the target, and then most likely we're going to roll over to the downside. Now, if you want to make a comparison to another pattern that's sort of similar happening at roughly the same time, take a look at my crude oil trade that's also currently active. I believe it'll also head towards that target in that pattern, probably around a very similar time that this one does. So to me, you got a couple of different markets with the same pattern heading towards a top before prices turn down. So this to me is very interesting because there aren't many charts that sort of do this at this point in time, give you that kind of confluence. But I see it as a very interesting sign that something is coming up ahead that's going to be sending prices much lower. So for now, let's see what happens with this one, and I'll catch you on the next one.